So a little bit about Teams. First of all, as I mentioned, it's a hub for communication, a place, kind of a one-stop shop for you to manage all that you have going on with your different projects, your different departments, or whoever else that you might be working on. It's going to give you the ability to pull in planners and OneNotes and specific documents that are included even in a SharePoint library. And so right now you might be going to all those different places on your computer and navigating there. Teams is a single app available in multiple different platforms that will allow you to pull all those different items in. And so I'm going to take some time to show you that today. In addition, we're going to be, like I said, talking about how we're going to access Teams. We're going to talk about the different teams and channels within those teams that you can work in, just a way for you to organize your teams. Different ways that you can communicate, from chat features to posting within a channel to, hey, let's have a meeting right now, which is kind of what you're seeing right here, and having the ability to either do a video call or a voice call. Okay, so lots of options for communication. As I mentioned, you have the ability to access files. So I'll show you different ways that you can access both your OneDrive and SharePoint, and different apps and connectors and tabs that you can bring in. Notification settings, and also, as Ricky already pointed out, the ability to access your Teams via a mobile device, including participating in a meeting like you see right here. And so much versatility that it'll get your head spinning, but don't worry, I'm here to support you. We're here to support you. And so if any questions along the way, if you need additional trainings within your department to go over a specific item on how you want to do business, I'm happy to help you out with that. So first things first, where in the world are you going to find Teams? You may have noticed a few emails sent out by me leading up to this that it was important that you had the Teams app. There's a desktop and a mobile app available. The mobile app is available on Windows, Android, and Apple phones. There's also a desktop app available for a Windows computer or a Mac computer. And most of what you're going to see for this presentation is me working out of the desktop app on my Mac computer. For the sake of just showing you all the different places we can go, I'm also going to show you how the online environment, the Office 365 environment, looks pretty much identical to what you might expect to see with the app. Okay, and here I am in a browser, and it looks almost identical, like I said, to what you might see in the app. All of my teams are here, and it's very easy for me to get there. All I have to do is go to One Login, click on the Office 365 tile, and that will take me to my 365 home, where I see the Teams dashboard tile, and that opens up in a new tab, just like that. Okay, so the nice thing about this is no matter what platform you're on, it's going to be almost identical to what you're used to seeing. Maybe you don't have your laptop and you need to access it online. Very easy for you to do that. So that's pretty cool. Moving right along. So one of the big things is understanding the difference between teams and channels and groups, and what are all these different things and how do they work? Okay, and that's a good question. That's a good thought. Us in the IT department had to take some time to wrap our heads around that and how all that works. And so you can establish new teams right within the Teams app, or you can bring in your Microsoft groups that have already been established. So to do that, down at the bottom here in the Teams area, you'll see Join or Create a Team. All right. And if you want to create a team, you just click on the Create button, and you have different options here. Okay. Now, what I would recommend for the most part is just clicking on anyone, and that will allow you to establish a new team. But if you have a group already established via Microsoft Groups, you have the ability to click on here, and that will allow you to access those groups and bring them in as a team. Now, I'm not going to do that right now just because we don't have a ton of time. But I just wanted to point that out, that it's very easy to establish different teams. So what we see right here in my teams area is I have a list of all of the different teams that I am a part of. Some of these I use in real life, others I established just for the sake of instruction today. But you can see that each team has some drop-down items. These are known as channels. Within your department, you can establish these channels however you see fit. But you will use these to kind of create like chat rooms or different project areas. Okay, so for example, maybe the natural sciences department wanted to establish a team, and then within that team, they have the general area that everyone has general conversation in, but they can also create different channels that will allow them to have subject-specific conversations. Real life example, in the IT department, we use ours to communicate where we're going to be working, what we're going to be doing. Maybe we'll be in Greenville, maybe we have to work from home. But you can see how the communication is taking place within here. Okay, and it's going to allow you to add a lot of cool different notes, maybe specific to what somebody posted. You have the ability to like a message. You also have the ability to bookmark a message if it's a piece of information that you want to save for later, and then you can go search those items later on, and I've done that a few times as well. Okay, and you can see that we have specific items related to events that we'll be hosting, weekly reviews, and stuff like that. You have the ability to also take teams and unfavorite them. And what that will do is it's not going to take you out of the team, but it's going to put it down at the bottom so that it might be something that's not very important. Maybe it's an old team that you don't really communicate in anymore, but it'll still be available to you. You just won't get notification and information about it. You'll have to access it manually in order to learn about it. Okay, and so as far as the channels go, if you want notifications for them, you're going to have to follow the channel. All right, so if you want to be notified that somebody posted in a channel, there's a star, and you're going to have to click on that star to either follow, or excuse me, to either favorite or unfavorite that specific channel. So if you're getting a bunch of notifications for things that you don't really care about, but you still want to be in the loop when you need to be in the loop, you're going to want to click on that star to unfavorite that item. So that's just a quick runaround on establishing teams, identifying what the teams are and what those specific channels are within a team. You'll notice that as I hover, just one more point, as I hover over these different channels, I get a menu, the menu dots, and that will give me the option to do things like follow the channel. And if I go up to the team menu, I have the ability to add channels to that specific team, and obviously other important options as well. All right, moving along. So you're here to communicate primarily, and there's lots of different ways that you can get that done. You can get that done via adding mentions. So if I go up to the Online Education Committee team, and I wanted to speak directly to the other leader of the team, Michelle Gibson, all I have to do is put an @ sign and start typing, and I will have a list of individuals that I could communicate with. In this case, it would be Michelle. Okay, and so I can tag her in a conversation and speak directly to her with a post that the entire team will see. Maybe I wanted to also follow that up with a private conversation. I can go over to my chat area here, and within the chat area, okay, I have the ability to speak to specific individuals. Okay, in this case, Lisa London and I had a conversation going on, and this is just more informal communication. Maybe I don't need to cover it in email form, and I just want to ask something quick. This is a great place for these to take part. The beauty in also having mobile functionality is that these conversations don't have to take place with me sitting at my computer. If Lisa had a question quick and I was on the go, I could quickly answer that question right from the Teams mobile app using the chat feature. If we get sick of typing, we can always quickly hop on a call, or we could do a video chat right from within this chat area. So maybe she's having an issue with an application on her computer. We could hop on a call quick, and she could show me her screen, and I could see what I need to see on her screen. Maybe I don't have the answer, which happens from time to time. I could bring in somebody else to the call or to the conversation and maybe get their insight on it as well. So the sky's the limit in terms of functionality with the different forms of communication that we have here. Another cool one is that you have the ability within your team to meet now. And so maybe you wanted to have a meeting virtually, maybe you had some things that you needed to cover as a group, but not everybody can attend, or you don't have a need to meet face to face. right within my team here in the general area, you can see down at the bottom, there's a camera, and that's an option to meet now. So all I have to do is bring that up, and everybody within the team will get notified that I have started a virtual meeting. You don't have to have the camera on for this. It can just be an audio meeting, but everybody that is in this team right here will get a notification that there's a meeting going on. You can record the meeting so others can view it later if they couldn't attend. Obviously, you can see it flashing right here, but I have the ability to add a subject. And so within your department, there's a lot of different reasons you might need to use this feature, but it does exist and it can be very handy for you. So those are some ways that you can get some communication done. Obviously, you can also post general messages. It doesn't have to be to a specific person. Maybe you want to share a file. You have the access or the ability to attach a file simply by clicking on the attachment feature. And you can browse your different teams and channels for files you might have already shared. You can upload a file directly from your computer, or if you click on OneDrive, you will have access to your individual OneDrive to share any files that you may need to share with your group. Speaking of files, and I mentioned that there's also integration with SharePoint. So if I go over to my files area, which every team comes with in the general area, I have access to this specific team's SharePoint library. So all of the online education committee files that we have access to if we were to visit SharePoint are right here within Teams. I don't have to leave. I can go in and I can edit them right from here. Maybe we have a file that we use frequently. We can actually take it and make it a tab right up here in the Teams area. So for example, one of the things that the Online Education Committee is working on is a spreadsheet or a rubric for online courses. Instead of having our members have to search this out each time, all they have to do is go to this tab where it's posted up here, and they have access to it. You can actually, as you can see here, edit it. You can comment on it and share there. So there's a lot of different features, much like you would have if you were working on this spreadsheet in Excel online. To add that is very easy. You can add tabs by clicking on the plus sign here, and you can see that there are a ton of different tabs and different types of apps that you can pull in. You know, everything from a document library in SharePoint to, as I showed you, the Excel spreadsheet, and the list goes on and on. I don't even know what all of these items are. So lots of options for you to dig into, depending on what your department or your team needs to accomplish. Another important feature is as I mentioned, is the ability to have those meetings and schedule those meetings. So if we just drop down on this navigation bar a little bit, we see that we have this meeting area. And what that's going to do is a couple things. It's going to allow you to view your day or the upcoming days that you have coming up in your specific calendar. This is you. This is not just your team. This is you as an individual. But it's also going to allow you to schedule any meetings that you need to schedule. For example, this EdTech Dialect session that you're in right now, I established it here in Teams. So all you need to do is go to schedule a meeting, and right like that, you can start setting up your meeting. If you want to make it specific to one of your teams or channels, you can see that you can do that right from here as well. So maybe the natural science department wants to have a meeting with just those within the biology channel. Okay, that can be done. If you need to invite other individuals as well, you can search out those individuals from our system right from within here and add them to it. Need to give a little overview, you can do that as well. If you want to have the team or the meeting hosted in Teams, okay, you can see right here that it allows you to do that, but you can also add a physical location for that meeting to take place, excuse me, in a face-to-face environment as well. Once you're done, you hit schedule, and right from there, your meeting is ready to go depending on when and where you scheduled it. All right, so that's meeting, that's communication. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Like I said, I'm going to jump around here, but I already mentioned that you have the ability to take notes or to have it ask chat questions or post chat questions in here. If I go to this specific meeting here, I'm going to bring this up. You can see that within this meeting, you can all see my screen still, right? I assume. But I actually have the ability while this meeting is going on to take notes. And I can take those notes in a rich text format. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I have the ability to, and I know that you can see my video here, but I have the ability to blur my background. So if I didn't want you to see what was going on behind me, or maybe it's just a whole bunch of clutter, which really is, you have the ability to blur your background during a meeting. And that can be done right from here within the meeting options area. Additionally, you have the ability, as I mentioned, to record your meeting, and I can also stop incoming video. So this video from Connie of Trebian, I could stop that right now, but it gives me a nice, gives me the ability to look out the window of Trebian while I'm doing this presentation. So that's good. I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, a couple more things, just so I don't take any more of your time than I need to. As I mentioned, you do have the ability to access files. One question that came up in this is having the ability to access both OneDrive and SharePoint files. Okay, so on the global navigation over here, you can see files. Okay, don't confuse those with your SharePoint files. Those are your individual OneDrive files. It's your OneDrive area. Okay, so if you need to access something to work on it or edit it, or something's been shared with you via OneDrive, you have access to it in here. If you need to access files that have been shared via Teams, any of the teams that you're a part of, those are available underneath the Microsoft Teams area. All right, and so that's different from like the SharePoint area within your individual teams. Those are your own individual files. Okay, this assignments area. Teams does give you the ability to set up assignments. If you were an instructor, maybe you wanted to have a little discussion area outside of Canvas for whatever reason, just a different environment. That might be something that you would like to put to use, but it's definitely not something that most of us will be using, but it is there, so just don't be confused by it. There's a whole lot of other apps that we can bring into Teams as well, making use of Planner or your individual OneNote area. Excuse me, you can bring those into the sidebar as well. Okay, so like I said, this is the Teams is a hub for you to do so many different things that you were going to different applications to access. Now they're all in one place. And so speaking from experience, it does take a little bit of time to acclimate yourself to it. How do you get notified? How do you follow these channels? Why do you set up these channels? I'm here to help you with that process. I'm here to sit down with your department and establish these teams and establish the different channels within the teams, and make sure that it's working for how you want to do business within your department. Okay, so don't hesitate to get in touch with me on that. A couple other items, and I mentioned some of this already, but these tabs up here, like I said, are very important. For the Online Education Committee, we use our OneNote, our Teams OneNote quite a bit. And I'll just show you what it looks like right now. This is, like I said, an online trapper keeper, basically, is how you can think of it. But it allows you to keep all of your different notes and information pertaining to your team. And you can see now, instead of me going to OneNote, I can access that OneNote right here within Teams on a tab. So if I wanted to update some meeting minutes for our upcoming meeting, I could go to the meeting folder and find the Spring 19 February meeting that's upcoming, and I could update items for the meeting right there within OneNote, okay, within Teams. Okay, or if I needed to access a past meetings minutes, it's right there for me as well. So these tabs and these integrations are pretty neat. If I go back to the conversation area, I pulled in a connector. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about connectors today, but it will allow you to actually bring in external items into the flow of your team. So for example, just for example's sake, I pulled in an RSS feed from an EdTech in higher education and different articles associated with that. Okay, so there's lots of different options for that if you wanted to add some connectors, but for the sake of less confusion, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that right now in this session. Just a couple more items just to make sure that you're aware of a couple additional features. If you want to have a little bit of fun with your conversations with individuals in your teams and your channels, you do have the ability to add stickies, anything from just some strange emojis all the way to, there's my meme creator, and you have the ability to add captions to these different memes that they provide you with. It's very easy for you to drag and drop images into a conversation. So if you had an image on your desktop that you wanted to bring into a conversation, you can do that just by dragging and dropping it in there. Another cool thing, as I mentioned with the notes area, is in addition to the notes area having it, any conversation that you have has a rich text editor so that you can give a title to a conversation, but you can also add in bolding and italics and a whole lot of other items and formatting into any sort of post that you make within a channel conversation or a Teams conversation. And so that kind of ups the game a little bit too. And you can see that there's some other features. So if you want to share YouTube videos or a lot of other things, including searching for more applications within the stream of a communication, you can do that as well. And lastly, mobile functionality. And I mentioned this earlier, but you do have the ability to communicate via the Teams mobile app. And it's supposed to be showing you what's on my mobile device right now, but in true technology fashion, something had to fail me. But you can see right there, this is kind of my screen. But you can see what the mobile app looks like. Like I said, it's available on Windows devices, iOS devices, and also Android. It gives you the ability to join into a training like we're having right now via a mobile device, using the functionality of the camera, the microphone. And I think it also allows for location services. Actually, I don't think I know. You have the ability to share locations within the mobile app. I'm not saying that a boss can find you if you are out and about, but you'd have the ability to share a specific location, like meet me here, and you can drop a pin. And so that's a pretty cool feature within the Teams mobile app. And I can speak for most of the IT department in that we all use both desktop and the 365 along with the mobile version of Teams. So that's pretty much all that I have right now. I wanted to leave some time at the end in case any of you had any questions on Teams. I know that, like I said, some of you are using it a little bit. Some are using a lot more than that. Some of you would like to put it to use a whole lot more within your work each day. So that's all that I have for you. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you don't have time today, email me or send me a Teams message. Okay, over in the chat area, you have the ability to do that. It appears that I received a new chat during this, and you can see that I have a notification for it right here. And so Don plugged for science and wanted us all to know that science rules. I can't argue with you, Don. Can't argue with you. So there you go. Well done. So like I said, that's all I have. Thanks for joining me today. If there's still donuts around, help yourself. That's it. Thanks for coming.